night, and the river's a sight as you sit on a branch, and we've rolled up our sleeves and are lucky to fight about pain at its height, and we're taking a chance.
Okay, guys, welcome to Nursery, the podcast from the highest creative voice. My guest today is Icarus Fleu. Hey, Icarus, how are you today?
Hello, Lee. Thank you for having me on your podcast today.
See, this is Icarus's pseudo voice because he's a very mysterious character in Ohio that nobody knows about.
The best thing about that, first of all, that's hilarious. Pause for laughter.
I'll make sure I edited the thing in and put like fake laughs. Right now. Just kidding.
No, but the idea, and I think I told you, we first talked about it. Actually, no, because I just started adding people on Facebook. And
I had you, and I didn't know who you were.
It happened to be you, and you invited me to a show.
Because I'm such a whore. I was like, right. give me him, whoever he is. I will bring him to a show.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So you invited me to a show, and then I saw you at Sam's. At Sam's house. And I was like, how did you know? And you're like, what are you talking about? You said, I just invite everybody. But but the idea was to make music without a face.
Yeah.
Right? Anonymous music, sort of. Not in like Anonymous, the protest, but anonymous music. Music for the sake of music. It started there, and I started because I had the Facebook. I set it up and everything because I'd been making music for 9 years. On my own for 9 years before that. With the bands and everything for forever. But and I never did anything with it because it was just kind of like a hobby. And I'm like, why? And then the internet caught up to a place where I'm like, I could just release this, but I'm one of those weird people that's creative, but also uncomfortable with attention. Yeah. Like, that's why I would make a terrible frontman. That's why, I've been playing the bass for years.
Which is a good thing. It's a fun thing, but then the pressure's a bit off. Yeah.
Right.
For sure. That's true, yeah.
So, I figured if I release it anonymously, that would just be neat. It'd be just about the music. It wouldn't be about an image.
And I should clarify to the listeners that it's Icarus, Icarus, and then Fleu is Fleu. Can you tell me why that is?
Oh, it's
I should know, but I don't.
Well, there's a poem.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I can't remember the title or who wrote it, but basically the line is, "But Icarus also flew." And what I take it to be, again, having very little knowledge of it, I just like the phrase.
Yeah.
Is, yes, things are hard, things are difficult, whatever. But even though he failed, he did fly. For you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His wings melted in the sun, but he did fly.
Okay, cool.
So I take it like that. Also, I just like that imagery.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's it's just the cosmonaut's helmet because I love space and science fiction and things like that. I've always loved the image of the cosmonaut from Russia and everything. But
so, what poem? Do you remember the name of the poem to tell anybody, or regardless, someone could probably type in FLEU and find.
Well, but
one of
the
things.
FLEU, that's just my take on FLEW.
Oh, okay. That's not.
And it was just because I thought it was a bit on the nose.
So you were just it was like when somebody's like, "Is Harry Butts here?" Or that
Right,
kind of,
right, right.
It was like spell however you want.
Right, it was a bit on the nose.
Okay, I like that.
FLEW,
Okay.
so I just did the FLEU because I wanted to because to me it called to mind like a fireplace flue.
Okay.
Different spelling.
Oh yeah, right. That's how that is spelled. Oh my god, I
Right?
haven't heard that word in so long.
Right.
I like
Well,
it. So
it's-
it's coming from a lot of different places.
Right.
Yeah.
And like flue powder from Harry Potter, and it's just
And somebody can, my immediate image now, I wish I would have thought about that spelling, is a bird flying up through a chimney or
Right,
something flying
anything,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that it's drawn from a lot of different places because much like this podcast, like if you're just like this and this and this and this and this
Yeah.
and just cobble them together, something will come.
Right.
And at first when you said that about releasing it online, I was like, no, you have to go shake everybody's hand. You have to meet people face to face. But with this genre, no, you don't really. Yeah,
and
yeah.
to perform, like, because I've toyed around with the idea. Well, maybe I should perform it, but other than setting up a laptop and pressing play,
Yeah. Not that many people would want you to perform
no,
it.
and it's not really that kind of music.
Smart,
It's
yeah.
more of the like first time I sent you the EP.
Yeah.
You were like, "This is perfect to
Yeah.
work to," and that's and it's totally and it's really chill. It's a very mellow, which isn't what I was going for
Right.
initially. It's just kind of how it ended up.
Yeah.
Because my influence, I mean, comes from everywhere. Came up doing punk rock, pop punk, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of there, but also hip hop. Because I'm not big, I don't really listen to a lot of electronic music, which is why I don't know that my music sounds like a lot of the biggest thing
No,
people
it
have said
doesn't.
is
It doesn't.
I play it for people who have no interest in that genre, and they'll say, "Well, it's different."
It is different. It's
di-
definitely
and,
not
and
like
I don't take
modern
that
electronic.
as
Yeah.
right because
Yeah.
I mean there's the four on the floor that there's always that throughout, and there's some of that in there.
Yeah.
But like with house music, it's a
Yeah.
I don't go for that.
And you're not going for these undulating bass tones like something like Promise or Promise.
No,
Promise Ring.
Skrillex.
Skrill. Oh yeah, of course you're not going for it.
Yeah. No.
Dubstep. But then
Dubstep.
there's the other bands that kind of hit that medium, and you're not really there either. You're definitely somewhere between projects I've heard for soundtracks,
Right.
and then coming up somewhere near hip hop. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's definitely not like trendy indie electro, and it's not like, but it's
Yeah.
definitely not like, it's not like something that's like DJ showing off like
Right.
all
Yeah.
that crap.
No, it's
sometimes
its
that's
own it's its own thing, and I don't know where it comes from.
I don't know. There's people from your and my era. So we're both around 30 now. Like
Yeah.
the people from our era, I see some friends of mine put on like Rancid or put on like punk in the background, and I really even more than when I was a kid, much more. I like pop punk just fine,
Yeah.
but like I'm putting on your kind of stuff if I need to just like live my life to it.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
that's more of an intense experience where I press play and
Yeah.
you know, now I mean, yeah, much like you, I don't tend to listen to the genre that I make either.
Right.
Like I tend to listen to the genre you make or something like.
Yeah, sure.
So it's weird because I know I'm very aware that the stuff that me and my buddies make in third class is kind of like, pay attention, stop what you're doing. In some cases,
Well,
maybe
this
not so
new,
much
the
now.
new
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
it's
Not as much. That's more like you can put in the background, it
Yeah.
can flow. But I think we came from a place where we were like,
Oh, for sure.
here comes this, and this track's not like that. This
Yeah.
track's, and you're like, just pay attention
Look,
to me.
and we just switched
like
instruments.
Gentle Giant or something.
Yeah,
for the
or
second,
like even
or Yes or
remember
something.
way back. I remember, and this forever.
Mm.
There was this song that Peppy did, and
Yeah.
I want to kill, I want to make.
World and nothing is the same. You think you're cool, I think you're lame. Your lazy life is just a game. I've got to tell you, sir, you're the best, sir. What you do, sir, you're a loser. You're a juicer, drug abuser, lowest form of life, a
Get
loser.
out of my head.
Your life, yeah, get out of my head. He's
Weird-
screaming.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that. That I mean, that was high school. That
Yeah.
was
But weirdly enough, it's not been all that long since we performed that live.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, which is totally weird to like. I think we may have done it one time last year.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we thought we were like, here's a treat,
right.
but most of the people there were like, what are you doing,
yeah.
man? Like they didn't hate it, but I don't think that anyone. I think a lot of people actually liked that song, but
Yeah.
but because it didn't fit with the mood of the set, they were like, whoa, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Who are these guys?
And actually speaking, just so the listeners know, me and Icarus, like, we go way back to East Palestine, Ohio, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
a small town on PA border,
Yeah.
PA Ohio border. And just to kind of connect the dots on those two things with music, I walked into State Line Tavern a couple weekends ago,
Yeah.
and Bob Franklin was there. These
Really?
DJs there all the time.
Okay.
And I walked in, and he got out of my head on over the speaker.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Which was like, not at all. I
Like,
wasn't like, whoa, we're
that-
famous, but it was really nice of him.
Yeah.
And it was sweet that he did it, and it was like, and it was very appropriate for East Palestine because maybe the last time we really had strong roots there, that's what we were playing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like we want to play more shows there, and we love it, and I hope that someday we can. But
Right.
we kind of just by nobody's fault are boxed out of the kind of circuit there because it's like
It's all metal.
yeah, some metal, some country,
country
some,
and-
yeah.
yeah.
And I think
I guess
people
there's
would
the
love-
hip hop guy from there now.
Yeah.
Dre Smith.
I
Yeah,
substitute taught him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like him, but and I'm sure we would go over just fine. But
Yeah.
it's a little hard to book because a lot of people in East Palestine tend not to use the internet or like I remember
Yeah.
calling places and being like, hey, can we play here? They're like, you can come to our open mic on Thursday and we'll give you a shot. And I was like, well, yeah, that's fine. I was like, I'm not too good to do that. But
Yeah.
I was like, you should just listen online and tell us if you like it. And then it'll make it a lot easier.
On
Give us
what?
a Saturday.
Right,
yeah, and they
right,
won't.
right.
They're like, no, I want to see you live. Maybe that's a more genuine take.
Performance. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe that's
performance-based.
actually smarter. That they're like,
Maybe.
nope, just you show up and show me. Just
Yeah.
like everyone
Dance.
else, you
Dance,
have to do.
monkey.
Yeah. You have to do an audition just like everyone else. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I know we're not special to you,
Which
but
is-
we're a hometown band at this
Right.
point. We can
Yeah.
just come play.
But sometimes you can't
Yeah.
go home.
No, it's so surprising.
Especially when-
I
well,
love
like-
East Palestine.
On Facebook because it's weird. Like I put up the Facebook, and then just recently, and I don't know why I did this. I was like, because when Twitter was a thing before, when I, as myself, who remains currently anonymous, which we'll discuss.
Yeah, that's fine.
When Twitter was a thing before, it was not. I never had anything to. I never thought my personal thoughts. What was to me? I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I got on it just as a whim to promote the music, and I'm like, oh, this is actually everybody seems to be here now.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And Facebook too, a little phasing out. Twitter is
Yeah.
huge. Instagram's a big thing now.
Sure.
Which
is
I
hard
d-
for music.
Right.
But yeah,
like
it's
what do you
there,
do
it's
there? You
there.
just I've been just posting selfies, but they're just pictures of cosmonauts and stuff
Yeah. Right,
from
right.
stamps, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
But Facebook, Chris Vargo,
Oh,
a
yeah.
kid I graduated with, we played music together. Played bass with him and a kid named Wes McLaughlin,
Yeah.
who was in Downshift.
Yeah,
Do you remember
yeah.
them? They were huge.
Big time. That
They
was
were a
awesome.
cover band.
Yeah.
And
But they were pretty much big, especially for being in our town.
right,
Like,
they were
yeah.
the biggest thing
Yeah.
because they played at the bars,
And they
it
played
was-
out of town and got paid
Yeah.
kind of well.
and they played the
yeah, yeah.
Cleveland some talent
Yeah, yeah.
show
What was
in
that?
the flats.
Mountain Dew Rock Off.
I have the CD still somewhere.
That's awesome. What was it? Mountain Dew
Rock Off.
Rock Off.
Yeah.
For the.
It was like
the
97,
Odeon,
98.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Oh, that's a funny thing. We might as well just go back right now to those
Yeah.
days because then another really important figure aside from Wes, Chris, a few other people was Derek Braden in our lives because he
Right.
kind of provided an outlet inadvertently. Like he was like, I got a barn. This is so
Right,
small
the
town.
barn
Yeah.
show.
He's like, I got a barn. Should we go? He doesn't
Yeah.
sound like that. We're like, should we go play in the barn? And we're like, yeah. And we
Yeah.
just did it, and it was fun. And we, like all high school kids, we thought like we were. I don't think any of us were celebrities, but we thought we were tapping into a lot larger thing than
Right.
just everyone doesn't have jobs and can come to this.
Right.
Not to be negative, it was great, and people became
Yeah.
fans of our bands. But
Oh, for sure.
But like, I just don't. It's just so funny. Like immediately, like 2002 when I graduated.
Yeah.
It like immediately I was like, guys, come on! Like I thought I could whisper that we were having a show somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, I probably, and a lot of people still would kind of make it, but they were
Right.
like, I don't have any money. You know, that was my parents handing me $10 to go buy your CD when I was young.
Right.
It's like,
I can't
and I'll
do-
buy it maybe.
Now
but
I have rent.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like
I'll
that.
later.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? And like
That barn
was
show
fun,
though,
yeah.
I remember that we did that. We only did one
Mm.
because we were the Van Blimps at the time.
There was only one real show that was just in that barn.
I remember that, and then we had the dust was in our amps
And you found it in your nose the next day.
the next day,
Yeah.
and it was terrible. And all the pictures, because I still somewhere have pictures from that show.
I have those.
There's like a haze because it was there was dirt. It was like a dirt floor.
And everyone, dude, in our world, as far as just being kids, like every single person in the whole world was there. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bunch of Columbiana High School and New Waterford High School people
Yeah,
were
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And then to our like little like girly like giggly surprise, there were like guys from the football team there. And stuff. And, like,
Yeah.
I think
We're like, "They
none of
like
us would have
us."
said it at the time, but I think we were all kind of excited.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
like, oh yay! And one of them was in the band, so that's what kind of got him.
But Derek,
Yeah,
he played.
Derek, but Brad was in
Brad,
the
yeah,
band
that's
with
right,
him. He
that's
really,
right.
him and kind of Dan Glibbery, but
Yeah.
he mostly drew like these football dudes. What
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so to us was like we got a new audience
Yeah,
now.
right?
We're
It's
getting
it would be the equivalent of someone being underground
yeah.
for 20 years and then suddenly being on the radio.
Yeah, that's what
But
it
in
was
our
to us.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super important. And I remember also, if I can mention this, you were kind of like, as far as our world goes, of like, I don't want to say geeks, because I'm not really somebody who's like smart in a nerd way, but
Right.
whatever we were. You were kind of a stud in our world, weren't you? Don't you think? Like, didn't you? If I can say this,
no,
I'll,
yeah,
I'll
I-
edit this out later.
no,
but didn't
no,
you
it's
like
fine.
take off in the middle of a set and like get in a car with somebody and come out and like
I might have done
kind of
that.
make out? Or
I may have
like,
done that.
Dude, like to me, that's pretty cool because
Yeah.
that wasn't my world in high school. And,
Right.
and you were a guy who kind of built that from the ground up as like, I'm gonna be the funny guy in high school.
Right.
I'm gonna be kind of like, what my power play will be creativity, however, and like you got a girlfriend from it.
Yep.
You got like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think we sat around being like,
You're like, what's the
"This
formula?
stud." No,
What's
but
the
I don't know
formula?
if I even looked at it that way then, but now I'm like, I had nothing like that happening.
Yeah.
Like most of the people I know that were playing in bands probably didn't have that much happening, other than
No.
our friend Derek. Both our friends Derek Baker.
Well,
Derek
they were,
Baker.
very good looking.
And they were both on the
athletic.
team too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they both kind of were more well rounded than we were.
Do you remember the talent show?
Yeah, that
At
was awesome.
school when Derek Baker comes out when you guys are playing and his pants fall off.
Yeah.
That was the stage. That was the
Yeah.
point. And then somebody's mom, who wrote for the paper, Morning
Yeah.
Journal, wrote, and the headline, I remember it, third class, more like no class.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, because it was like it was in the roast section, and they said an otherwise talented band was something like was perturbed by this dude's stunt. They
Right.
like gave us a mini compliment
Yeah.
for a sec, and then
An
said-
otherwise talented.
yeah, an
band.
otherwise talented band.
With
Not
a-
that it's important to anybody. But it's up on our site still. It's like
You still have it?
Yeah. I typed
That's
it.
awesome.
I retyped it and
That's
put it up
great.
on thirdclass.net as a reason.
Right on.
Just because I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, so we were in East Palestine High School.
Yep.
Our friend Derek Baker introduced Third Class, my band, by kind of dropping his pants and having like cartoon polka dot underwear and
Yeah.
underwear under it.
Yeah,
underneath.
yeah.
It was all
No, he
kind of
wasn't
planned.
exposed or
No.
anything.
But then the story goes. So and I believe a lot of us played that talent show and it was fun. A lot of good like local East Palestine bands.
Yeah.
And he so he dropped his pants and then somebody was like, he exposed himself.
Right.
And somebody was like, give him detention,
Yeah.
give him ISS. And
It was an
so many
outrage.
people called the principal of the high school that the principal kind of felt backed into the corner of, I got to do something here. I don't
Yeah.
think he even wanted to, but he was like, the
Yeah.
parents were so upset, Derek, that I'm going to have to suspend you.
Right.
And it was just so weird because like they tried to call, the timing was so weird. They tried to call like me and Jack to the office in East Palestine, and Pepe went to Columbiana at that point.
They called him?
And they called Derek too. But
Right.
me and Jack were absent the next day. I don't know
Yeah.
why we it was like one of those weird like we knew we could take a day off after, like we didn't miss that much.
Right.
I don't know what we were doing. And so Derek got like in school suspension. I think we would have gotten it too, but the time, as if that's all that it
Right,
takes,
right,
is
right.
not being.
Well, we'll just
And then-
hiding out. Yeah.
Right. So then he got suspension, and he got a bunch of cred for it. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
I think
for
everybody's
sure.
like, "Oh, he got suspended.
Yeah,
He's awesome."
he's-
He probably got like more girls, like after,
Yeah.
which is so lame to say now. But
No, but
I'm
that's
sure
all.
what
That's
happened, yeah.
that's your currency.
Yeah,
in
and
high
he
school.
always really laid hard on that afterwards. He always, even now, he's always been like, and to an extent, he's right about like at least our small, close knit community.
Mm-hmm.
He was always like, "I put you guys on the map with that stunt." And he's
No,
always
this was.
I love that he
15
says
years
that.
ago.
Yeah, and I don't discredit him. In the world of high school, he
Well,
probably did.
well,
But,
no, for sure, yeah.
But I love that he always says that. He's
Yeah.
like, "I put you guys on the map," and he always says it in such a good way. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I post it like almost 20 years, not 20 years later, but almost 15 years later online, and he's like, "There it is, buddy. That's
Yeah.
when I put you guys on the map."
That's great.
But yeah, so at that time you were playing bass.
Yep.
Our friend Derek Braden was playing bass. A lot of the key players were bass players that would be like, "Hey, I have a friend from West Virginia. You have your friend Todd from West
Yeah,
Virginia.
yeah.
I have a friend from whatever, Negley, East Palestine, Columbiana.
Yeah.
We started a band. Come play in my living room." And
Yeah,
that
the
was
house
really important.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
No.
so now, it was obviously we wanted to entertain people and show
Right.
them a good time, but now I realized it was important therapeutically probably for us to have an outlet.
Oh, for
Stuff
sure.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I mean, and so much credit has to go to your mother,
Yeah, for letting us screw up
who
our house.
didn't have to do that. And I remember we'd come over and we'd be setting up. She'd be up in her room reading her books.
Totally.
She'd come down. "Now, you boys be good tonight," or
Yeah.
something. But like all of us, that whole, if you want to call it a scene.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because kids from other towns
Yeah, they
did
did.
come
Some people
when we
were.
did know them. But
One of the first times I saw my wife was at my house at a show that like Pepe brought it to.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he like brought like Columbiana people and
yeah,
it was good.
Well, it's because he went to, because
Yeah,
he did
went
go to East
everywhere.
Palestine.
Yeah, he went everywhere.
Because I remember one of my first memories of you
Mm-hmm.
and him. You guys had a chess club.
Yeah, and I couldn't play.
You couldn't, but he
Yeah, he
could,
knew.
or
Yeah, he knew
maybe
some.
he was faking it. Didn't matter because we were kids and nobody understood chess anyway.
Mr. Kazi just like,
Mr.
"You want to
Kazi,
join?" We're
that's
like,
right.
"Yeah."
And I
like,
remember, and I think it was in the yearbook, that little paper one.
it's like a photo of us pretending
Right,
to play.
like, but yeah.
Which we got nothing out of. I don't know why we pretended to know how to play chess. It's
Well,
not like we were
it's-
meeting girls. Or
Right. Well, but
What were we doing?
it gives it's something.
Something, an outlet. Yeah, I
It's
see.
when you're a kid, you whatever you have to have your thing, and it's before you had the music.
Yeah, true.
So you were like, oh
tried
yeah,
to
we're
start.
chess guys.
We got rejected from the talent show in 7th grade, so that like perturbed us. Mrs. Harmon was like, "You guys aren't good enough," and we're like, "Oh no."
You're just fellas. You're just too darn loud.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah, it was like that. And I remember that because that was a big blow. It's so funny. Not too much bothers me now as far as that stuff goes. But at the time, we were like, "Can you believe they said that to us?" And we were so angry.
Yeah.
And then Pepe's brother's band, which Wes was in, got in, and we were like, "Why'd they get in? We didn't get in."
Yeah.
Magic Mushroom Band.
Magic Mushroom
with
Band. I remember that.
Yeah, Mario
was
Wes,
the singer.
probably
yeah.
Ryan already as a
Yeah,
bassist.
and Chris Vargo on drums.
I'm sure that was
yeah,
the
yeah.
lineup. Yeah. And then later was Greg McCormick as
Yep.
the lead singer.
Who has like
with a
15 kids
similar
now.
roundup. Yeah.
Or maybe 2.
Yeah, and I've seen him once in a while. I see him just coming out of a place in East Palestine or Columbiana.
Yeah.
And he still seems really, really interested in music. And
Is he doing anything?
Blues, I think.
Oh,
He's
that's
doing like
cool.
his own blues stuff, but
Very
I don't
cool.
know that it's available anywhere. He's like way more off the grid than you even are, as far as
Yeah.
like trying to stay way more low profile. Like you want to entertain people.
I do.
And like he was like,
do.
if you happen upon a recording that I threw
Away.
into a sewer somewhere, that's me. So you know,
That's
like, he was
that's an integrity.
yeah.
No, I don't know.
I'm sure it's somewhere. I gotta look him up.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I see him. Those guys, as far as an outlet goes, provided us with something big. Like Derek was like, "Hey, want to play a show?" And we
Yeah.
were like, "Play for people. That makes
In
sense."
front of people.
Yeah. That's all.
A
That's all
gig.
his. I credit
Yeah.
him completely because we didn't understand. We're, as probably is still a trait of mine that I probably don't think is the greatest. We just sat there and kind of spun the art and just
Yeah.
like sat there and just started creating without thinking why or how or what.
Right.
And he was like, "Here's do this."
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
I was
that's-
so caught up.
Yeah.
you know?
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I've been
Yeah.
doing it for almost 10 years now. In September, I was like, I should release this.
Yeah.
And again,
But you said it
because
of your own accord. Like we didn't have a mission statement to start out, which is a really stupid. I'm not saying we were kids,
That's
but like
true.
we were just like, "Hey, mom, check this song. Mom, check
Mom,
this song." And
Mom.
we were done.
Right.
We were like, "Well, we laid it
right.
for our mom. Now we're done with our career." Like we
right,
just didn't think.
this is the drug years now.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you remember this? I remember it was after I graduated in 01,
Mm-hmm.
and then we wanted to put together a show, and this is how everything ties to now the Youngstown music scene, which you
Totally.
you are a champion of, I'd say.
I hope. I wish.
you are.
It
You got-
took us
and
so long
it
to
did.
even get here. It's like people to us. This is New York. Like,
Right.
This isn't like
But that's okay.
We're still not. People are still like, you don't belong here. Not really.
Honey,
But you know what I
belong.
mean? Like,
Hillbilly.
dude, we're always gonna be East Palestine people.
Of
no
course you
matter
are.
what we do.
Of course you are, and but maybe that's why it works.
I hope. Yeah.
But but basically what happened was I remember because I had graduated,
Mm-hmm.
so I was 17 at the time. I graduated when I was 17, and then I forget how, but I met up with you
Mm-hmm.
or something. I don't remember exactly. I was living with Todd at the time.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Hey, we met this guy at the YSU something festival. He plays
Yeah.
acoustic guitar
Okay.
Monday nights at the Mocha House. His name's Khalid."
Yeah.
And this was when he was Khalid ...
Yeah.
And then he brought in Brendan Gottner, and then he would like open for him.
His brother once in a while.
Yeah.
Like
Rashid
Isom
would
or
come in.
something.
Yeah. And they would do that, and he had the albums, Khalid ...
Yeah.
and for the motherfucking kids,
Yeah,
because
the
he was
Bright
gonna.
Blues
The
was the
Bright
first
Blues
one.
was the
Yeah,
first one. I still have it somewhere.
Yeah.
But so that happened. So then we wanted to put together a show, and we had you guys, and I asked Khalid to come down, but he'd been in Pittsburgh auditioning for The Real World or something like that.
Oh, cool.
But do you remember we were supposed to be at the VFW in East Palestine? VFW or one of those organizations.
Yeah.
But they rented something else. We were supposed to rent the hall, but then they rented something else. So Wes McLaughlin was playing. No, he had played with. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So we got the Fish and Game Club in Negley.
I forgot that the reason we ever got there at first was being like, just like, trying to transfer somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
we
you're right.
we got that because Wes, he had played with us like senior year. So and we were still friends. So his parents were members down there. They got us the hall for the night, and I sent Aaron Workman's sister Ashley to the VFW to stand there and be like, "It's at the fishing game. It's at the fishing
right.
game," because this is
Oh,
before
man.
texting. This is before. This is 01. Like the internet's a thing, but it's not a thing. You can't just tweet shows finished. We had to send a person physically there.
I remember going to like Sparkle or Giant Eagle, whatever it was at the time. I guess Sparkle.
Yeah.
And like going to the cashier, being, hey, show move.
Show move.
Because all the people we knew worked there. So like,
Right.
I was like, so yeah, that seemed, now it's nostalgic. At the time, it was probably very stressful.
Oh,
us,
for sure.
But now it was like just cute and
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
yeah.
And we did that, and then Khaled came and played. You guys
That's right.
played.
And you played Helter Skelter, right?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
and,
yeah.
probably Wes's dad or somebody.
I think
like,
so.
There were a couple of like adults there that
Yeah,
could
some
like shred
adults,
for
some
real.
grown people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they could like shred for real. And Colin was like just like doing like the basic chords and singing real
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And like we were
Yeah.
like, these guys are, well, to us Colin was kind of an adult already.
Oh yeah,
He
because he
only
was 22,
23.
Yeah, but he was so,
yeah.
but he was so wise because
Yeah.
he'd been to New York already.
Right.
You
And,
know,
and we, yeah,
he was
I remember that.
established, and he was, and he still is, and he always will be.
Totally.
He'll always
he is
be
like,
like,
the Derek Braden. He's like the next dude that was like
Right.
that for all of us. That
Like,
was like,
he
hey,
invited
play a show
everybody
here.
in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, come play a show in Youngstown where you make a little bit of money. We were like, what are you talking about?
right, and he recorded
Oh, yeah.
us.
I still have
Sad
that.
song number 7.
He played piano, or was that?
No,
was that
I
you or
don't
Todd?
remember. I had to play drums. I
Yeah.
remember because our drummer couldn't
Oh, I
come.
didn't ever know that.
I played the drums,
No way.
which is why it's so like. It's very like I don't know what I'm doing, right? And he recorded that. We spent all night.
I woke up at 10 today, had some coffee and walked outside, smoked a cigarette and realized how boring life is. It's raining again, it's probably going to rain all day. I think about a lot of things, like yesterday when I saw third class play. It never rains inside.
And then he mixed it down, whatever, gave it to us. And then to tie it back to your brother, for a while, was covering that
Yeah,
song
totally.
live, which I thought was because he
was awesome.
texted me. He was like, "Hey, do you mind if I?" I said,
Woke up at
"Yeah."
10 today, had some coffee and walked outside. I smoked a cigarette and realized how boring life is. It's raining again. It's probably going to rain again. Think about a lot of things, like yesterday when I saw third class.
And I remember it was funny because you guys always put us on shows. We always hung
Yeah.
out. Like, I mean, we went to school together, so we would just hang out as friends.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, as bands, I remember we were so jealous of you guys,
Which is so weird to me. Like,
right?
that
But we
never-
were, because you were so popular, and what we didn't get.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. We were like, but they don't even have. It's a 3-string guitar.
Yeah.
You know, and we were over here like, all right, this is the chord progression. The first one's a diminished 7. We were like
Yeah.
so serious, like we thought we
yeah.
were such serious
Yeah.
musicians. And like, you know, what key is this in? They don't even know, you know.
Yeah,
But,
oh my
you guys
God.
were so.
We
but,
still
but,
don't know what keys
but
things
you,
are in
Well,
sometimes,
here, but
yeah.
you go back
Yeah.
now and you go, whatever you had, it was just there. You can,
Yeah.
you know how to write songs because
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people, you could have the best musicians in the world who may not know how to write a song, and it's not going to be whatever it is that you tapped into.
Yeah.
And at 16, 17, we were just like, why? You know, just so
you guys weren't
upset.
so much like I remember. I don't think he really feels that way anymore. But I know Josh Reddig was probably kind of like, because he was like just born a theology person, born like a
Right.
philosophy person. Like I think he oftentimes saw deeper into like, which is a big feat to overanalyze more than me and my brothers.
Right.
Like, but like I think like he was kind of in that place where he was like, there's only 2 strings on the guitar,
Right.
but they don't know what they're doing, and like
Right,
he would
yeah.
be like the one that connect the dots
And it
more
means
analyze it. Yeah, and I don't know what
this.
it means, but he was really good at observation, whereas we we were just lucky enough to have a lot of time together. Not lucky because Pep lived with us, and we were at a time where we were just draining my mom of money, and and those like Peppy and Derek lived with us, and it was like
Yeah.
I shouldn't say we were lucky because my mom was just taking in straggler people. So,
Yeah, like stray cats.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like everybody else in high school that I remember, though you did live with Todd for a period for
Yeah.
sure. They were dragging amps to each other's house. They were
Yeah.
trying to make it work, dragging a drum set in their mom's car.
Right.
We just got like in just that regard. We rolled out of bed and
You could play.
wrote songs all
Yeah.
the time. So, and I missed that.
Well,
I don't
your
hang
house
out
was
with people.
so big.
And it was gigantic. Oh my God, my
And it
mom
was the biggest
My
house.
mom's in this big house. If listeners don't know, my mom's in East Palestine. She's in this huge house, and me and my brothers, me and Steve are like, sell the house, get out of there.
Right.
It's too big. And Jack and my mom are on the other side, and they're like, but it's where we grew up.
Right,
And
memories
Yeah, yeah.
and-
But dude, oh my God, at the very time, ever since I was about 7 when we moved into that house, we knew we were so lucky. The reason we were in that house is because my dad, who passed away in '93, who died of skin cancer, he did naturopathy, and he started to run his own business and make his own money, and he just started making a little bit of money. And when he bought the house, him and my mom did the thing like lots of couples do, where they're like, all right, now because of this, we gotta like not buy any food.
Right.
I couldn't believe it was like there's
Ramen.
because I remember there were stories like my mom went out and bought a jug of orange juice. She just bought orange juice, or my dad did, and my mom was like, "What do you think you're doing?"
What do you
Like, and that was we lived in a house a couple blocks down the street before that was a rented house from Mrs.
Yeah.
Chamberlain, I think. Or
Okay,
something
yeah,
weirdly.
yeah.
And I remember it's like just buying orange juice that wasn't concentrate or something, or it might have been concentrate, Jeremy, orange juice. But regardless, the thing was they did so many years where they lived in their car, so many years where they lived in the woods in a cabin,
Right.
And then this was their big like we're getting a big house in East Palestine, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it, and it totally showed that. I'm not trying to get cred by saying like we were poor at heart. Oh my God, I wish we still had that money. Dude, I would brag about it now. Like when I was a kid, it wasn't cool to have money. But now
Right.
I'd be like, my mom paid for this. Like I'd shout it
Yeah.
from the mountains.
Oh, for
that
sure.
pride for that kind of thing is gone once you grow up. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, my friend gave me money. It's awesome.
Yeah,
like no
yeah,
one
yeah,
cares.
no, for sure.
But yeah, at the time, I know a few of our friends were like, you guys are rich. You guys have money. And I was like, oh, I didn't really understand because we came straight from being poor. And then right after high school, back to being poor.
Yeah.
My mom just getting those bills paid these days, and actually consolidated a lot of stuff. I guess I shouldn't be sharing so much financial information, but all I mean is, we never acted right in that neighborhood. Our grass was unmowed. We always
Yeah.
had like hammock blankets hanging off our tree branches, and like
That's right.
we built a tree house up. I mean, I'm just saying, man, those people in the neighborhood hated our guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and then
we
because
had
that was
their
the.
shows.
If you can consider any part of East Palestine ritzy,
It was there,
It was the-
and somewhere near the run, like the Leslie Run or something.
Yeah,
outside.
yeah.
It was always that side of town. We were on the good side of town.
You were.
And we took
The
full
right
advantage.
side of the tracks.
Yeah. We took full advantage of that house.
yeah.
We used that thing to the core. We played ping pong in the basement.
Yep.
We slid down our big hill on the sleds.
Yeah.
We basically just gutted every room with our activities.
Right.
and,
And she let you, and your mom was so cool.
and she
about
was
it.
so cool. Oh my God, we had house shows there.
Yeah.
A bunch of people were there. We probably had like people making out in our bedrooms, and we were like
Probably.
running around outside and smoking and stuff. And it was just classic. But
Yeah.
to go back to
Jeremy. you
that
okay?
rock off, Jeremy, come on, Shecky. No, Jeremy. No, that little rock off thing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
The mentality you were in, where you were saying that you were intense about observing like other musicians, us, and being like, "What are they doing? They can't play guitar." Like, I remember we submitted to the Mountain Dew rock off,
Yeah.
and we didn't get in. And I know that Derek Braden was of the mindset that you're talking about, and he thought that we threw the submission in order to be cool and underground, as if like
What?
anyone would ever notice.
How
or
would
think
you?
that, yeah,
But how do you even throw it?
I
how
think
do
he
you-
thought that we submitted the wrong. Like, we did actually submit kind of soft
Yeah.
songs, I think, and like I think he was of the school of thought that if he submitted stuff like. If he submitted stuff that was more along the rock vein, that we would have got.
Oh, I see.
He
Yeah.
might have been right, but I think he
Maybe,
thought that we. But he thought he had this, and no disrespect to him, I've seen him recently, and he's awesome. But I think he had a complex where he thought that we were so good that how did he make it in and we didn't,
Right.
stuff, and we didn't see it that way at all. We were like, dude, they're way more technically advanced
Oh,
than we
sure.
are. They're like way better musicians.
Bye, Jeremy.
Jeremy,
Bye.
come
Oh,
here.
he's running.
Come here.
Running.
I'm gonna
There he
get
goes.
you.
He's gonna get him.
I'm gonna get you.
He got him. Picks him up by the scruff like he's a cat.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should report that.
There you go, bud. That's neither here nor there, but I always thought it was interesting because the
Yeah.
same thing was happening in a different regard on our end. We were like, look how well they can play guitar. Look how well.
Right.
Like if
Why can't we
songwriting
do
was our
that?
suit, the musicianship and the technical execution was a lot of the other band's suits
Yeah.
of the song. So that was a neat thing to see.
But if only the
it
two,
can be combined.
if ever the two shall meet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe Call It is kind of in the camp of songwriting rather than technical precision as well.
For sure.
Yeah, so
For
it's
sure.
funny when you meet certain people, like, what their powers are, because maybe if all the right people were picked out of each group, there'd be some super group that, like...
Yeah.
like,
The
but-
Youngstown.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Supergroup.
most of the bands that we probably are drawn towards, I think in most cases it's either something like your project,
Mm-hmm.
where it's about emoting, and
Yeah.
the fact that the rhythmical content is good is just a bonus, or we're drawn to, like, I don't really know this band very well, but I want to say like the Ataris, we're
Yeah.
drawn to like the stuff that's very sloppily executed on purpose, kind
Right,
of
right,
thing.
right.
They're not that sloppy, but they're just
No,
kind of like
they're-
off the cuff.
they are, yeah.
I think that's always what we've gone with, and I know one of the things that we worked with you and a bunch of other musicians recently is having you remix, having people
Oh, for
cover
sure.
a song called Seattle Stars.
Yeah.
And I remember you and our friend Dave Nolden, who worked with the actual layers of tracks, which there's like 2.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really record it. Isolated tracks were like, dude, you guys, it was like, I didn't think about this before, but now when I listen, you guys are really non-metronomic. I was
Oh,
like,
for
oh
sure.
my God, we so are.
Yeah.
It's almost annoying because a song could never be recorded the same again.
Well,
It's
that's why,
a weird
like-
thing. It's so
like,
fun.
Because you got it from me. And actually, I do have the stems. Like,
Yeah. Stems,
Sam
yeah.
sent me the stems.
But it's funny what our stems are compared
Right.
to like the real.
But I like, but it also shows the way he records, which is cool because it's like guitar, but you're singing, so the guitar mic is picking up you singing, and then there's the voice, and then there's clearly a microphone in this part of the room over here on the left.
Totally.
There's that,
Totally.
and which is cool. So I only needed the very basic, but I'm trying to track this thing, and I
Trying to find an
actually.
isolated track
Right,
somewhere.
and what I ended up doing, the reason mine is like me,
Then us. then
done, you,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just you, because I cut out everything but you with the guitar and then the vocal, and then me again, and then with Peppy, the we are.
Yeah, which is
We
the
are-
best part. I love that.
I
part.
enjoy that too.
Yeah.
Like because I wanted to get him on there with his vocal because I had it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and
He's like
I
the only
looped it.
isolated thing. Because
Yeah.
like Dave Nolden, the guy who kind of started to culminate the whole
whole
idea
thing, yeah,
of doing it, he was like, hey, he was like, you could tell he was probably in his head had this remix in mind that was like,
That's what I had too, yeah.
And they would have us over it, and
But there's no time there.
no,
There's absolutely
Steve Summer Camp Steve was the only one that pulled it off.
Right.
He did it
With
'cause
his
he
phone,
changed
of all things.
Yeah. He's like some sort of genius compared to all of us because he like
I'm running all this software, and he's just like, well, just,
yeah. He was just like, just move the guitar track over and then turn it on and then mute it at this part, and I'll just loop that. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, I'm just going to plug it real quick. If you go to thirdclass.net and you click on the cover of an album, it's a green and blue cover. It says Seattle Stars, Third Class. There's 10 free songs from 10 Ohio artists covering that song, and it's free.
yeah. And they're all
So,
great.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and it's weird because I wish it would have got more attention, but I hope that it's a platform for people to hear this cover by Icarus Fleu.
All your words stick to me.
of our stuff for sale by name your price and things like
Well,
that.
right, but
$5 or just a low price. So
Yeah.
I hope that gateways into other. I hate to be the guy that's like, you put this song on here and then you get free promotion for it. Like not be able to actually pay people and do it right.
Right.
But at the same time, like,
But
man,
that's
nobody makes money off their
nobody
albums.
does.
It's
And
horrible.
but that's okay
Yeah.
because I actually had a conversation. I was on Facebook. I was on the Youngstown music scene. I don't remember the guy's name, but somebody said, "How are you gonna?" It wasn't directed at me. It was directed at somebody else. And he said, "How are you gonna give away great music for free?" And I just commented on it. I said, "Nobody pays for music anymore. The model has changed." And he said, "And that's scary." I said, "Not really. If you enjoy making music, make your music. You put it out. You find your money another way." Like I work two jobs.
Yeah.
You know,
Me too, man.
right? So like to make ends meet, and then finding time to do the creative, you know, which is why people when's the next one coming out? I'm like, when I have
Not for a while.
10 minutes to sit down and work on it, you know,
yeah.
and I'm not complaining. This is being an adult.
Yeah.
There was a time when you could make music, sell it, you know, at your show, go play around, and actually do a thing. This is when record labels ran the world, but that's done because of the internet. It's democratized everything. We're able to release music now, but you kind of have to give it away
Yeah.
or name your own price. And you are the first person to ever purchase my music.
Yeah.
You
which
and
is
then
awesome.
and then call it, and the rest of it is just
They just download. And
it's
they're
just
taking somewhere
download
from somewhere.
right,
Yeah.
and it's just I'm just giving it away, and that's fine. I'm happy to do that, and because that's the project, that's the idea, that's the whole. Where can this go? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I hear interviews with people that say the internet's like a big waste of time and stuff, and I hope that it doesn't end up like completely like controlling us, like people say. But I do.
Right.
I definitely I never really looked at it as like this threatening. Like, Napster and like the
Yeah.
early days, they probably did misstep and kind of like. All of a sudden, we're just like, oh crap!
Right,
like everybody
right.
lost money, and
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying they should have just been like, it should all be free right now.
Right.
Like that was like a very fast-paced change.
Yeah.
But overall, man, Facebook, like social media and stuff, like there's a lot of people that then I look at it as a positive thing that I wouldn't be in contact with if it wasn't
For
for
sure.
that. To me, that's positive. Other people would say that's because you don't want to see them anyways. No, I
No.
don't think so. I do want to see them. It's just time management.
My whole thing, my model of releasing music would not work
Yeah.
without social media.
No.
It's because I don't go out and play. People don't know who I am. You know what I mean? It is a thing that can only exist on the internet. This way, unless I was already some famous person, which I'm not. Which is the best part because it is going to come out.
Right.
It will come out eventually.
Sure.
Who I actually am, and everyone in Youngstown that's like, who is Icarus Fleu?
Yeah.
They're going to be like, all right, well, who the fuck is this guy? Because they're not going to know me either.
I didn't even think about that.
You know, because that'll be
Could
like,
be.
you know, because everyone who knows me already knows that it's me. The people who don't, who only know that image, that the helmet and everything, when it's like, oh, it's this guy. Well, who is he? No, he's I'm still nobody.
He is everyone and no one.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. He's a symbol.
Yeah.
Which is great, but it only works with a Facebook. And they made me put in a middle name on Facebook
William.
because they I don't know. I kind of want to call them and be like, listen, this is a project I'm doing, and you're really messing it up. If you wouldn't mind, we could just put it back as it was, because it was really working for a minute. But you know, it's cool, and and there's a little following. People who enjoy this stuff get a lot of retweets. That Crystal, I cannot pronounce her last name.
Yeah, me neither. But she's a nice person.
Crystal Couture, and Rob from Rust Belt Theater. He has a crush on Icarus Fleu.
Nice.
Which is adorable.
See, that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Well, guys, listeners who are interested, especially if you tend to like stuff with samples, hip hop, kind of electronic genre, please go to, I guess the best place would be Bandcamp,
Yeah.
right? To search Icarus Fleu and make sure it's
Actually,
FLEU.
even if you Google Icarus
first thing,
FLEU,
yeah.
I am the whole page one.
That's a
Which
good
is
thing with
cool.
your name. Yeah.
And that's an unintentional with the spelling.
Right.
I never because people like now spell their name to get a Google, whatever, unintentionally.
Yeah.
It's all.
So that's
it's all
perfect.
me, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't do this to make money, but I put it up. It's on iTunes. It's
Yeah.
on everything. It's on Beats Music. I went through this distributor. It was like $20. And
Yeah.
They put
That's
it all
what
up.
Summer Camp Steve did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is good. Yeah. So anybody listening, if you tend to like, just go check it out. Throw a couple bucks in if,
if
you
you
end up
like
buying the
music,
album. Yeah.
check it out.
If you
Yeah,
like
if you,
music.
I don't want your gas money or your rent,
Right.
but if you have a couple shekels
Yeah.
extra, toss them my way. If not, enjoy the music for free.
Yeah.
Because I don't do it for money.
If you had to only listen to one song for
Oh,
the rest of
yeah.
your life, what would
This
it be?
one.
And you're on a desert island, and I'm forcing you to
desert
do it
island.
because it gets me off.
Right. 'Cause, yeah. There's this song by the Ataris
Okay.
from way back. It was on this album called It's My Hotel Year.
Cool.
My Hotel Year by the Ataris. The full band version. There's an acoustic version on an album called Blue Skies, Broken Hearts, Next 12 Exits. This is on Further. I can't remember the name of the album. But it's the full band version. That song.
It's called My Hotel
My Hotel Year.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a nice title. I
Yeah,
like
it's
that
a cool
title.
it's a cool track. It's actually from a book called Life After God by a guy named
Cool.
Douglas Coupland. He's a Canadian guy, and it's a series of short stories,
Okay.
and it's excellent. And he took Chris from the Ataris took the title from one of the chapters, about a guy who lives in a hotel for a year.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, and I found that author through that band. I was obsessed with that band when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I recently, I don't know if I tweeted, because I think my Twitter goes to my Facebook. I'm still
Yeah,
new.
it does.
We're of that generation where, like,
Yeah, we
like a
don't quite get it.
2-year-old can figure out all. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think it's linked.
And we know some of us
Password.
know the mechanics of how to like
Yeah.
write the code, but we don't know how to just simply
Right,
what
link it
links and what
together.
links. Yeah, right.
But I was listening to Mike Herrera. He was the bass player. Is the bass player for MXPX? If you remember them.
I remember them.
He has his own podcast now, the Mike Herrera Hour, and like the third episode is Chris Rowe from the Ataris. So I'm listening to that the other day, and I'm like, the 20-year-old me is so excited, right? I mean, it was neat to listen to,
Yeah.
just to be like, what are those guys up to now?
Right.
But me at 20 would have shit his pants.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
come at the same time.
That would be great. Yeah,
But Mike Herrera Hour is the podcast. It's on
Okay.
iTunes. It's good.
sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
well, that thing you said, life. Did you say life after God?
Life After God. Yeah.
That kind of segues me to next. What would you describe your religion as?
Oh.
If you don't mind saying.
No.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist.
Oh, okay, atheist.
Yeah.
My friend Craig I had on. I haven't posted it just yet, but
Right.
he says that.
Yeah.
I asked him this. You probably definitely agree with this because coming like most people from Ohio from a Christian background.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you kind of look at it a little bit like it parallels religion? I kind of did,
Oh,
not in a bad way, but I just always thought that. Like,
I think for some people it does.
Yeah. I'm not saying that everybody tries to like just knock the definitions over and not do it, but
Yeah.
do you feel like you've replaced praying with something else, or do you feel like,
No.
like that? Okay.
No,
maybe
and
you're
well,
not. Yeah.
here's why. Here's the difference. When I kind of think I always was. I was always at least agnostic, even coming up in the church.
Sure.
Even like, cause like I was born, and here's a weird tie-in. I was born 3 days later. I was at church. Mindy Strawn was there,
Oh, nice.
so I've literally known her my entire life.
Wow. That's
We're not
amazing.
really friends now. Like we don't see each other.
Yeah.
I've known that girl my entire life.
Oh man. That's
Weird,
awesome.
huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I was always kind of like, well, what about this? What about that? And I would be asked to leave, the class, a few times. And at the time, I'm like, well, why don't they have answers? But as an adult, I realized these are people volunteering their time to teach kids, and I'm attacking them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
So
You're saying, are you talking Sunday school?
Sunday
type
school,
thing?
that
okay,
sort of
okay,
stuff.
Cool.
and I tried. I wanted to be a part of whatever it is. Maybe the community of it. I was going to Youngstown Metro Church. It's the last place I was a member, and I was really trying. I tried to have faith. I tried to believe this thing that I find so unbelievable, and I just couldn't fake it
Yeah.
anymore.
okay.
And that's when I kind of was like, well, I guess I'm just not. And then I was a total asshole about it. I was the other side. I would come up to people, how can you believe that? That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? You're stupid. And I think everyone goes through that. Other people I've talked to who are atheists go through that, I think, because it's and I don't think it's an anger at God or the idea of being lied to or anything like that. I think here's a thing that I was passionate about as a kid, maybe, or not, and now that passion gets turned, and because it's so fresh, you're like, no, everybody, you gotta, so it's not quite proselytizing, it's not quite spreading the good word of non-belief.
Sure.
But it's just being so wrapped up in that idea that you just have to kind of...
Hi guys, I'm just gonna go to the store real quick.
Ellen's
And you wanted...
podcast audience. Ellen's here. And Jeremy.
No, I don't need anything. No, I'm good.
I'll be right back.
Just trash bags. Trash bags.
Trash bags?
Trash bags. Ellen, trash bags.
Trash bags.
Trash bags.
But okay, it's not quite preaching it to other people.
No,
it's-
but I was so mean about it. I really was. Like, someone would be like, well, at church, and I go, how could you go to church? What are you, stupid? Like, I would do that, and I feel bad about it. Because then I watched a video on the internet. This guy, Phil Plait, he has a blog where he started out by he's a scientist. He works with telescopes or something. He started out, it was called Bad Science. Now he goes by Bad Scientist. I think it's his Twitter, @BadScientist or @BadScience. Basically, he would debunk science in movies, which was really interesting. Jeremy, that is my cough. Which was good. But I saw this thing and it was called Don't Be a Dick. And he was at a skeptics convention. He basically says, has anyone ever changed your mind about something by telling you how stupid you are for believing it or for thinking that way?
The same dude, the bad scientist?
Yeah. He's like, by someone attacking you, have you ever changed anyone's mind?
Yeah, true.
No. And I sat there and I go, well, shit, no. What am I doing? And that kind of made me rethink. So personally, atheist about pretty much everything. You know, I don't think that there's ghosts. I don't think people have been abducted by... I take a scientific viewpoint, though I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at numbers. Not so good with math. I enjoy concepts of science.
Yeah.
But I think what we once called God, the mystery, the whatever, like we can point a camera, we can look into the universe and see how vast it is. God is no longer that terrifying and mysterious. You know, it can be a very small thing for me personally. And I also know that I live in America where I can, you know what I mean? Like, I understand in some countries, like say in Africa, there's a lot of religious people in Africa because they're all starving to death.
Yes.
So I live in a place where I don't need something to reaffirm my life.
Yeah.
I can do that myself. Professor Dawkins puts it, he says, well, people ask, what is my purpose? Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
I live in a country where I'm able to make my own purpose, for good or for ill. That's where I'm at with it. So I don't take it as just a replacement for religion because we don't go to atheist church or anything.
Yeah. I guess the only reason you see, the problem with even saying that it's a replacement for religion for me is like, the reason I believe that is because I think it's so easy to take religion lightly too. So I don't think that there's a replacement for like Hail Marys and like
right.
church,
No,
like church opening the Bible to me is the same as, I'm not saying I like it, but it's like reading any other book or putting a record on. So like church to me is the same thing as going to an after school community activity soccer game or something. It's just there for communal purposes.
Absolutely.
So like I always thought that whatever other things, whether it be music, whether it be this, they don't have to be called religious in any way. But I always felt that like maybe somebody's inadvertently praying to something else. Or
I get what you mean. And I don't.
But I don't think they actively
I'm sure
like have a shrine of like now music is my god. Or I guess I always just thought of it as like church is church is usually, as long as it's not, like you say, as long as someone's not telling someone they're stupid for not believing it, is a really great thing for people to get them through. But
Oh
like,
no, it can be. And
yeah.
like my mom, for example, I know that if she didn't believe that God loved her and was looking out for her, I know she probably wouldn't make it through the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying that she's weak
No.
by any means, but I know that she personally needs that sort of affirmation,
Yeah.
that sort of faith, that sort of someone's looking out for you. And I remember a time when I needed that, wanted that.
Yeah.
But maybe as I got older, and there's just so much negative that goes along with it. Like the stuff in, not to be political, but the stuff in France, you know, with the killings over the Je suis Charlie, that stuff. And which is fine. Islam's doing that. Christianity did it before. Judaism before that. It's their crusades or whatever.
Yeah.
Every religion has killed other people who didn't believe what they...
That's true.
And
I
that's
suppose
just-
the big picture.
It's
is-
just
yeah,
their
I like
time
that.
now.
Yeah.
And either they'll get over it or we'll all die for it. I don't know. I'm not that
That's
worried
interesting.
about it.
No, I like that. I'm all for.
So
not
there's
trying
that-
to be too organized about it.
There's that aspect which is kind of scary, where it's like, oh, this is what we believe and you have to die because you don't, or because you're on the other side of it. I'm as far away from that as I can be. But the place I'm at with it is I don't believe in anything, and that's, you know, and if you do, fine, we can still be friends, we can still talk. I love having discussions about anything, but leave me to my non-belief, I'll leave you to your belief, you know what I mean? Are your kids getting baptized? You want me to come? Fine, I'll go to that. You want me to go to your temple? Sure, I'll wear the little hat, that's fine. I have no problem with any of that.
Yeah.
I just don't personally believe it. And some people take the stance of atheism is, like you said, it takes more faith to be an atheist.
Sure. Yeah.
But the way I look at it is it's like a level of agnosticism. Like you would be a level of agnostic like a 5. Don't know either way. Could be, couldn't be. Don't know. Mine would be like a 10. Mine is can't say for sure because you can't.
Yeah.
But I live my life as if it
That makes
doesn't.
sense. I see. Yeah.
So it's like, and we'll call that atheist.
Sure.
And
I like that.
I don't have any fear of dying and being like, oh no, I was wrong. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's true. I get that. You
It's
probably
like-
have less fear than I do even about something like that.
I do,
admittedly.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Mark Twain, I think it was Mark Twain, said, I have no fear of death. I was dead for millions of years before I was born.
Yeah. Well,
So I think of it like that.
That's something I said on a recent podcast. Is that, and I've repeated that. I probably end up saying this a lot on this podcast, but something that my brother Jack,
Jeremy.
who I hope to have on soon enough, said to
You
me
should.
when he was drunk. He was drunk riding his bike around Columbiana with me, and I told him I was scared to death for something. I don't know how the conversation got to that, but he was like, he said the same thing that you said Mark Twain said. He basically said, you're nothing before, you can be nothing after. Energy
Yeah.
never goes away.
Yeah.
There will always be energy. And in a weird...
Yeah.
I think that's...
You can't create or
yeah.
destroy it.
I think that's why I always ask people if they think atheism can be its own religion. Because to me, I took great, like, soulful and kind of spiritual... I can't think of the word. Refuge in him saying that energy doesn't go away.
Right. It just becomes something else.
Yeah, reincarnation in a really, really scientific manner.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah, to me
It
that
goes-
became kind of inadvertently religious to me, but it was in a totally agnostic or
Right.
atheist
Right,
manner.
right.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
it
just how
kinda
you
gave
took.
me-
Excuse me.
yeah.
That's how you took it.
Yeah.
For comfort.
Because death,
and it
death
can
is
be
just such a
comforting.
big thing in all those
It is.
fields. Yeah.
But you think about it, like, and I know your dad is gone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're good with it.
Yeah.
I know you miss him. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time, so but you can talk about it.
Right.
So I'm sure maybe that's why it's on your mind
Yeah.
sometimes.
Maybe that made me feel better about him when
Probably
Jack said that.
Yeah. But like, when I really think about it, when I stop, when I turn off everything, and I just think I have to do that sometimes. When I get overwhelmed or stressed, I have to turn off all the devices, you know,
Yeah.
and just sit. I'll just sit in my bed, and I'll just think it all out. right? And like some people write, I just let it, and then I do feel better. But when you think about death, when you think about this life, this consciousness, whatever it is, you get to a point where you say, what is it that I'm holding on to? So what am I clinging to? What is it that I'm so afraid of losing? And then I'm not saying kill yourself.
No.
Nothing like that. But when that time comes, you think, if you have time to think about it, unless it's an accident, something like that. What is it that I'm so afraid to lose? What is life? And this is a whole philosophical, this is a thing, this is a rabbit hole you can go down. But what is life? What am I? Why do I cling to it so much? Because, it's all we know, because we're conscious for, but what is consciousness? What is, and it can be this whole, what, I sound like an art student.
No,
but
it's like an Alan Watts thing. Like what
right.
He just tells you, don't worry about the embarrassments and the things that you had happen in your life, because you'll be dead.
Right.
And he doesn't say that it's something, oh, my life doesn't mean anything. Oh, what have I amounted to? He knows it's not like that. He knows it's like, he's like, you don't worry about all the things that happened. It will soon be
you'll
gone.
Be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Exactly.
It totally is okay, yeah.
I appreciate it because I listened to the 2 podcasts that are out before coming here today. I like that Kevin Smith inspired you to do this.
Yeah.
His book, I don't know if you've read it.
No.
It's called Tough Shit. It's really good. I have the audio. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and it's him reading it. He did it from his house because he's got a studio there.
Right.
And he's stoned the entire time. But it talks about his father. His dad died screaming. He had a massive heart failure.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, in a world where that happens to the best guy I know, why would I not try anything my heart fancied?
Yeah, it's a good
Which and listening to that, I had to listen to it 3 times. Then I'm like, fuck it, I'm releasing this music because and it's not because Kevin said so, but I'm like, I felt inspired by that. And the same way you're inspired by make a podcast, make a movie, do a thing, do whatever, create. If you're creative, create. If you're not, consume, enjoy. Fuck you, take my money. That sort of thing. So in a way, this, which I'm so glad you're doing, inspired by the same thing that made me go, yeah, I'll put this out there.
And like you said, it's not because a celebrity said so at all. It's,
no,
I can
and
really
I don't
vouch
even
for that because you're
I don't
a fan.
even think of him as a celebrity because he does so much podcasting.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to one on the way over. It's People's History of the town they're from. It's him and Brian Johnson.
Highland.
Well, and his mom. Like I feel like I know him because his his whole life is out there.
But it could be anyone doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I can really vouch for it because I know I sound like a jerk when I've said this a couple other times, but I'm not like, because I was a teenager, I watched his movies.
Oh, sure.
But like, I did not, I'm not like, because he made this and he said that. It's awesome.
Right,
It's like, he could be
right.
any dude. He just happens to be really good. I could care less. Half the stuff he says on the podcast, I just listen because his demeanor's so awesome. It's it's like, it's not even about like, so like when he puts out some sort of advice like that actually does mean something. That's just a bonus. Because to me, he could be talking about how to cook.
Right.
And I don't cook and I don't care about cooking. And I'd listen to the entire podcast because it's him talking.
Right.
So like to me, I've always been this big hippie when it comes to like, I don't care about the story. I don't care about the plot. I only care about the atmosphere.
Right.
So like if he says anything, especially if it's actually something good.
Right.
you just said.
For sure.
Especially, it's just a big bonus that, because dude, at the end of that, Jeremy, at the end of that sentence, most oftentimes comes, so why should God exist? Why should anything be? Because if someone's like, if I saw the best person in the whole world die like that, then what? Then I know God's not looking out for me. That's usually the total stock answer. They're like, bad things happen, therefore God doesn't exist.
Right. And I've
so
seen that.
Stupid,
Well, I've seen that too, but it also goes the other way. The most fervently religious people, and not people who grew up in it. That's different. It's totally, when you grow up in it, it's all you know. I grew up in it, and I'm like, I would have enjoyed if my parents had been like, this is what we think, but there's people who think that this isn't real.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated that choice. I came to it on my own anyway.
Yeah.
But there are people who come to it like as adults or as teenagers, they suffer some great trauma. These are the most fervent, and at that point, I don't know that it's even about God. It's
Yeah.
more about them. It's
Yeah, definitely.
God saved me from this, and I almost died in this thing, and then God was there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this has nothing to do with. This is you.
Yeah.
This is because people. I mean, we are the stars of our own
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
We are the. I was thinking about this morning. I was putting gas in my car before I was coming over here, and I could see the highway from the gas station. I could see Route 80.
Uh-huh.
And most of them are trucks, but there's cars. And I don't know if you ever do this. You probably do. I'll sometimes step back from myself and look, and I'll go, well, I wonder who's driving that car, and where are they going, and what was their life like before today? Where did they come from? And everybody has these little, and it gets overwhelming when you think about it, which is probably why we don't all walk around and think about this stuff.
Especially if you think of them doing the same.
Right. There's so many people now. There's so many people alive just around, and everyone's got their own story and what they believe and what they think and where they come from and why they think what they think.
Sure.
Things that influence them, a childhood, and it's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous that there's so much life going on around us. All that being said, the atheism, the this, the that, I do believe that life, human beings, are important. I'm not really a social guy. Not that I'm awkward. I just I like my alone time. I like to do my own thing. But I do know that people are important as a whole, as a concept.
Sure.
Because we don't know any other intelligent creatures out there that we can talk to. And I think about, did you ever read Contact? There's the movie with Jodie Foster.
I never. That'd be probably a great book, huh?
Oh, it's such
I
a good
should've
book.
seen that.
Yeah, it's a little different than the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I
there's
should've read
more
before I'd
people.
see- yeah.
But there's a part where they talk about, in this whole universe, the most important thing we've found is each other.
Yeah.
So it brings it it's a very human, it's a very big science, whatever story, and then a very human ending where it's like, in this whole vast universe, all we have is each other, and that is what gets us through the day. Human connection, people helping people, because none of it makes sense otherwise. Because really, what is it to be alive?
Yeah.
This just turned into a whole different podcast. I know that.
No, that's
what does
good.
that even mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What does it mean to be conscious?
Right.
What does it mean to, you know what I mean? What is that? What is it? I can't say. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, at some point the light gets turned on, and then you go around for 80, 90 years if you're lucky, and then it's off.
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
So we're just like brains inside of vehicles, I guess. You're just your brain. That's your personality. That's your everything.
Yeah.
This is what you look like on the outside, but that's you.
Yeah.
And then the blood flow stops to that, you're done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you don't come back.
And I
That's
see,
crazy.
No, it is crazy.
That's
It is.
crazy, right?
But I see why you would put importance to other people because you're only what they say you are. It's always weird when people like fight back on, like, if someone's like, you have this mannerism, like, no, I don't.
totally don't.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like I always think that's so weird when they're like, no, I didn't. And you're like, oh, good, you changed their mind.
Oh, good.
Real
You told them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well
like,
done.
you obviously are like that.
Yeah.
Don't worry if they say that. They're saying it because they're your friend most of the time.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not like, and I love that. Yeah, because you're only that to them. If you're just by yourself and you're like, I don't have this mannerism. And
Yeah,
no,
you said they
like,
were
you're
convinced
not?
of it.
Yeah, yeah. You
Can't
don't
tell
really
me
have
nothing.
that set of personality.
Yeah.
Because that's all a social construct anyway. So
For
yeah,
sure.
of course you would put importance on that. Okay, well, see, that's nice and it's super insightful. So I'll just ask you. I guess
Yeah.
that's about it. But I just wonder.
Are we out of time?
We're just about, I suppose. But what do you think of when you think nursery? Just what a free association, childhood, adulthood.
Well, I was listening to when you asked this to Steve, and as he was saying it, I was thinking basement of a church.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I grew up in the church, and there was always the nursery where the little kids were. But of course, I mean, that's where my mind initially goes to.
Yeah.
Just because of those experiences. Very similar to his answer.
Sure.
So, Steve, I'm not stealing from you. But I happen to grow up the same sort of place. But, I don't remember being in it. I just remember seeing other kids in it.
Sure.
But now, I think of this podcast. So there you go.
Oh,
Bringing it
there
back
we
around,
go.
right?
All right, man. Well, thanks, man. That's awesome. I feel like I got a lot of really good stuff out of you. And again, everybody, please check out Icarus Fleu. Google him.
Yeah.
Fleu.
FLEU, Twitter, Instagram, Bandcamp.
Yeah.
I have a Tumblr, which nobody apparently uses, but
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get right.
it is, well, it's hard because it's just random, whatever. I don't use Pinterest because I don't understand it.
Right.
But yeah,
Well, dude.
check
Okay.
me out.
Can you say our little sign-off thing for us? It's enjoy your burrito. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
Chris Hardwick.
It's hey mom, we're on a podcast.
Do you want me to say
Yeah,
it?
you say it, and then we'll be done.
Hey, Mom, we're on a podcast.
You hear that, Mom?
You hear that, Mom? Karen,
We're something.
Karen, we're on a podcast.
Karen, get the pizza in the oven. Tim and I are coming over.
Karen, we're hungry.
This podcast is brought to you by the Orange Avocado, the Orange Avocado Alternative Bakery, specializing in vegan, gluten-free treats made with organic and raw ingredients. Check them out.